Need to vote to approve the minutes of
September 26th and October 10th. So on October 10th,
September 26th.
for October 10th on 13 Rattlesnake, I think we should include that the project was outside the buffer zone. We said that it was, the wetland sides were reviewed and adjustments were made, but it was determined to be outside the buffer zone, which is why we didn't commit anything to be on that.
All right. Oh, geez, what did I do with my pen? Ah, I got it.
Other than that, I didn't see anything else on that.
Anything else? Oh, good. I lost it.
Somebody make a motion.
Yep.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of October 10th.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
We need the minutes approved for, which one we just do, the 24th?
No, we
This
did
is
it.
26th.
All right, we got to go back to September 26th.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of September 26th.
Second.
Any corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. October 24th. Informal. Anything from Berkshire Gas?
Have the folks that, Adlers.
I see somebody's hand up.
The David Adler.
Yes.
Your Adlers.
Mr. Adler.
Hey, Ron. Thank you very much for having us tonight. I appreciate it.
Speak to us.
Sure. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person. I'm in Georgia, but my wife is joining us from Stockbridge. I can see her in Zoom. I just wanted to let the committee know what was going on as far as where we live. My name is David Adler. I live on 7 Lee Road in Stockbridge. Lived in Stockbridge pretty much all my life. My wife grew up in Lenox. My mom still lives in town. We went to the we had a conversation last week with the Campusa Bog Stewardship Committee because our property on 7 Lee Road resides within the ACEC. We've been having some issues that I wanted to bring to your attention as far as our neighbors that are behind our house at 9 Lee Road. That property is currently owned by Berkshire Gas and has been for decades. It is being leased currently to Osterman Propane and Superior Plus Propane. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, they were found to be non-compliant in the permitting of their gas tanks, the propane tanks on the property, and they were forced to remove 276 propane tanks on the property that ranged in size from about, I would say, the 40 gallons were the smallest ones to over 1,000 gallons. All the tanks had some form of propane in them. Some of them were, of course, fuller than others. It took 7 tractor trailer loads, but they've been removed. There's also an 800-gallon tank that is currently buried on the property, which I'm unable to find a permit for. I've asked both the town administrator and the building inspector, and nobody knows anything about it. It's what's called a mercaptan. Mercaptan is the substance that is used, that is added to natural gas and propane, because natural gas and propane have no smell. And so you add the mercaptan to it, and that's what gives it the really nasty smell that we're all used to smelling, unfortunately, but that's what it's there for. So there's never been a permit pulled as far as that was concerned. The property has been resurfaced in some form or fashion over the last few years. I don't know whether it's asphalt or airport mix or something else, but it now floods onto the west side of their property, which basically cascades across my neighbor's house, Jim McDonald's, at 3 Lee Road, and heads down and towards the Campusa Bog. I've been in touch with all of our butters. We'll be presenting our concerns to the select board in 2 weeks from Thursday. I'm not going to get into all the permitting and everything, but I just want to let you all know from an environmental standpoint that we are very concerned about what is going on out behind our house.
So, do you know the distance to any wetland?
Unfortunately, I don't. I did reach out to the Massachusetts EPA to ask them if they've ever inspected the property. To the best of their knowledge, 20 years ago, the property had been closed, so they plan on inspecting. I don't know when that's going to be.
DEP? Mass DEP?
Yeah, yes, I'm sorry, Mass DEP, yes.
Through Mark Stinson?
I'm sorry, ma'am.
Was it through Mark Stinson? Is that who you contacted?
I originally contacted, I just went right to their website, to the West Coast region, and they put me in touch with the buried tanks person because I was concerned about the tank that's buried. But it sounded to me as if this person handles more than just those cases. I did reach out to, and Stephanie, can you remind me of the person's name I did talk to? I can't remember. That was over at DEP. I think it was suggested by the Campusa Bog Stewardship Committee.
It was Mark.
It was Mark Stinson.
Yes.
Okay, I did reach out to Mark, and Mark said that while he appreciated me reaching out to him, he suggested that it was in your purview to reach out to him instead of me, but that he appreciated me giving him the heads up. But that if there was any further contact, it should come from your committee, is the way he made it sound.
So we should get in touch with Mark.
Okay.
Did I hear something about them burning tanks off behind your house as well?
Correct. So they for many years they've been burning the tanks, getting that's how we get the gas out of the tanks. What was really quite alarming and very scary to us was about, Stephanie, I think it was it last summer? I think it was last summer.
Yeah,
where they
probably
actually
about a year ago.
they actually had to remove the gas, the propane, from the huge 30,000 gallon tanks. There's 30,000 gallon tanks that are submerged. They're not actually submerged. They're actually what's called buried, or I believe that's the name. They're actually buried. So they're not underground, they're buried. So there's stone and everything on top of them. They had to replace the piping on those tanks. And to do so, they set up a huge torch, which went, no kidding, about 50 or 60 feet in the air. So much so that people that were driving by and walking by our house actually ran up to our house and pulled into the parking, into our driveway and everything, and banged on the door because it was so scary. It was very frightening. The fire chief apologized. He did know about it. He did not let us know. The gas company did not let us know either. There was no fire engine on the property during this process either. I question the legality of it, but again, that's something I think for the fire department, unless you think it's in your purview, but that's what they were doing, is that they were burning tanks out for many years. Those were just the regular tanks. Like I said, when they burned off these huge 30,000 gallon tanks, it was scary. It was really scary.
All right, so we're going to be concerned with stormwater runoff from whatever paving, blacktopping, crusher dust or whatever they put in. And that's headed straight across McDonald's driveway towards the upper side of the Campusa Pod.
Correct. And I have reached out to my butters, and I speak on behalf of all of them, and many of us will be at the select board's meeting. Max said I could certainly mention to you as well. He has had his well water tested, and so far it's fine, but it's not without concern for him.
All right. Well, someone will attend the selectmen's meeting. And we'll listen to all the, will the town legal be involved in this? Do you know?
I would imagine so. I think there's some serious issues as far as the permitting was concerned. There was originally permitted in 1972 to have one 30,000 gallon tank to Berkshire Gas. And then two additional 30,000 gallon tanks were added in 1982. But they're actually looking to not just reinforce those permits, but there's also a 500 gallon methanol tank that they want to have added as well, which has been on the property there. They also want to add 4 or 5 diesel trucks. Those are the small trucks that you see that do the deliveries. They want permission to use those as well, to have those on the property. And by the way, when I say have these on the property, these have always been on the property for the last 18 years. It's just they've never been permitted. So all those tanks in the back, the trucks, the extra 500 gallon methanol tank, there's never been a permit pulled on any of them. So it's a problem. There were supposed to be inspections. There were supposed to be inspections done. There's no records of any inspections ever happening. They're never inspected, even though they were registered. There has never been an inspection done back there. The only reason that I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. The only reason that inspection was honestly done is because the property is kind of split in two back there. There's the Berkshire Gas, which is what's called the peak shaving plant. The reason that the facility is there is because there's a line that's actually pulled off of what used to be the Tenneco line, which is now Kinder Morgan, and they used to pull gas off of that. And that small part has some huge piping underground, which runs down to the giant line that runs from Canada. The other part is the propane part. And there used to be a line that would go from the gas actually to those huge propane tanks or to the big tanks in the back, but that has since been disconnected. So it's literally right now just a depot. 18-wheelers come in and drop off their load, and the smaller trucks go out. That was never the intended purpose of that property. The property was supposed to be used for peak shaving. That's what the permits were for.
All right. We'll continue to monitor this. We'll send
Jamie had a question.
Jamie.
David, when you said inspections, is that for the fire department or another municipality organization?
Correct. The fire department, we've lived there for 30 years. I specifically asked the fire chief. There are no records of any inspections being done by the fire department.
Okay.
Also, in addition, the huge 30,000 gallon tanks are supposed to be inspected by the state. I questioned the fire chief about that. They are looking into that. I am not satisfied with the answer that I received, so he is pursuing that on our behalf.
And one more question, is there anything that up there to prevent vandalism, terrorism?
Sure, it's a great question. Honestly, there is a chain. There's a chain with a lock on it, and there is a singular light that is in the property itself.
And it's surrounded by a chain link fence.
Yes,
Also.
with barbed wire on top of it.
Okay, good.
All right. Thanks for the update. We will continue with whatever's going on here.
Okay.
Our jurisdiction is basically the stormwater, the runoff.
Yep.
Any pollution, that type of thing that might be emitted from that facility.
What's your guess on how large the paved area is?
I honestly, I couldn't tell you. I can tell you that the driveway that leads up to the property is, I would call it a residential driveway. I wouldn't call it a commercial driveway, which also gives us a little bit of concern as far as the big trucks that are coming in and out. Once it hits their fence and goes in, I think that some of it is paved, but I honestly couldn't tell you. For many years, they were doing their business back there. We had no idea what was going on. It was only until recently when the fire chief discovered it, and then they started cutting down the trees that are screening our property. Then now I have a view into exactly what's going on back there. So
It's getting worse and worse.
I'm not happy about it.
Because depending on how much they've cleared and how much they've paved, there's a stormwater permit that the threshold is 10,000 square feet, so, which isn't that huge.
Is there any building up there?
There is one building. I did inquire with the building inspector's office on, I think it was yesterday morning. There have been permits pulled as far as adding a generator, cleaning up some of the electrical work that was there, adding a roof a few years ago, because I believe it was a flat roof and now it's a bit of a pitched metal roof. So those permits were pulled for those things. But like I said, as far as the underground tank, nothing. My concern is when they excavate this tank, I don't know what that's going to mean as far as your committee is concerned as well. There has been promises made. I believe there were verbal promises made by Berkshire Gas to the fire chief. I've not seen anything in writing as far as when they're going to actually remove that tank.
Any questions? Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate all your time very much. Thank you.
Thanks for the
Thank
heads
you.
up.
Thank you,
You
Seth.
bet. You bet.
All right. Somebody remind me about this one. No. Show up. Mass DOT, a wildlife walkway.
I don't know that we have anything on that tonight, but I thought it should be on the agenda.
Public hearing, stormwater permit, Rosenberg, 0 Dugway Road.
Well, wait a minute.
Wait, we have Kate,
We have
We're
Kate
missing a
first.
few.
yeah, Kate Fleck.
Have the updated.
I must not have the
And then we have
updated one.
Marie here.
Kate Fletcher, LPOD. Kate, you here?
I'm here remotely, and I'm wondering if you can put me on the next agenda.
Okay, sure.
I just heard from Sally tonight. I mean, I just emailed Sally today and I heard back, thanks, Sally. But I think I probably should go on the next agenda.
Okay.
All right. Postponed.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you. I'll listen in because you've got 17 Mackinac Terrace on your agenda, correct?
Yes. Stop doing that.
I'm not doing anything. That's her.
That was Kate.
All
No.
right.
Extra one right in front of you. Gave you one, didn't I? Yeah, you could.
That's an old one.
This is the old, this is
Okay.
day old, whatever. Anything else on that then?
Arthur Fiedler.
Arthur
So 6
Fiedler.
Arthur Fiedler, Shannon. They have not changed any of the plans. The plans are as permitted. Okay. We have something I think we need to discuss with the building inspector's office, because we get the jurisdictional form when the building permit is pulled, comes to us, it does not necessarily connect the order of conditions that we issued with what we're getting. So we get confused, the applicants get confused, everybody gets confused, and we need to figure out how to
What
figure
what
that out.
started the confusion on my part is we got the form. I went for a quick site visit. He was there. We walked around the house. He said, "Oh, we're tearing this down and we're bumping it out 8 feet." I said, "Whoa, wait a minute." Because it's been a year and a half. My memory's not that good anymore. Okay. So the whole discussion has been, was this permitted or is this a new, or was the work done and this is a new,
This is what was permitted.
all right, a new
I
phase?
pulled out the plans, got the architectural drawings.
Yeah, I've been around this about 4 trees now.
So I emailed her, I copied you, and said we were sorry, for the confusion, and they can just go ahead. And I copied the building inspector, so everybody is theoretically on the
Michael
same
Canales,
page.
if he doesn't know already, will know tomorrow morning.
But hopefully we can figure out some way that, Mark, you may want to keep this in your mind as well, that if we get a jurisdictional permit a year or more or so after somebody's has gotten their order of conditions, we don't always remember all that because, we got a lot of stuff going on. And so we're likely to go, oh, gosh, but didn't they already do this already? Or maybe we don't remember it at all, which in this case, we didn't remember it at all. So I don't know if there's some way to connect the DEP file number with those.
You could update your form to ask for it if they're.
Yeah, but but that's the building inspector's form, so we need to try and figure that out, I think. Or maybe just give your clients a heads up.
There's nothing set up for tracking.
Yeah, I
when
know.
things expire. No.
I know,
I knew I've been to that site before,
yeah.
but then he says, no, I'm going, I don't remember this. I know I've been here. Maybe this is what we permitted the first time.
Yeah.
You know,
So
a year or
anyway.
two later, everything looks like it's been there for a while.
Of course. Good.
Just you know, so you guys know.
So sorry for the hold
I don't know
up,
what
but-
you can do to help, but if
Found
you
out
can,
today, so.
if you can figure out anything, any way to help your clients, you know, tell them when they go to file for the building permit, to let the building inspector know that they've got the order of conditions already and that it's a permitted project. I don't know how that's going to get tracked. But I'm hoping that maybe there's some way for
We
that
have
to
new
happen.
building inspector permit people, so maybe the communications weren't there, I don't know.
Yeah.
But Jennifer's been there and
Jennifer didn't pick up on
she
it.
didn't pick up on it. You know, we had this whole discussion.
But she wouldn't necessarily have any way of knowing that either, so, anyway.
Okay, so 6 Arthur Fiedler Lane is in
That's
the
it.
works.
Yep. So, we got a call from a concerned citizen on 21 Interlaken Road. Does anybody remember? Did we permit something there? Because I couldn't find it.
Interlake.
21A.
Yeah. If you drive,
One by Ron,
That's,
Yeah.
is that the one we went looking for and we couldn't find it?
maybe.
If you-
It's an A.
no, I don't think, Interlaken Road is 183.
Oh, okay.
So it's just past Jay Ryan's place.
Yeah, right past Quiet and All there on the left.
They have
They did.
all the logs piled up. It's on the way to Ron's house.
Yeah,
Yeah. And according to this person, there was no building permit for this
Cause I asked
either.
Ron the
So,
other day, like.
they were in for a clearing permit, but that was cleared and cut 2 years ago, and then I think it's changed hands again.
okay, so there was,
So now it's clear cut. But I've been keeping an eye on it. They haven't gone
but we.
back to the
We
stream
saw it
there.
and we had a jurisdiction or something on it. Because, okay, all
Can we
right.
look at it?
So
I
it's
don't
not totally out of the blue.
We need to look at it?
Drive by and stop. They got equipment in the driveway.
Yeah.
There's a sign.
I don't know that there are any,
It's not jurisdictional.
I don't think it's
No, there's
jurisdictional.
no.
So
they have to go
it's
over the
not-
wall to get near the
It's
water.
not necessarily our issue, but we did, like I say, we had a citizen query on it. And I didn't remember.
All right, public hearing for Rosenberg, 0 Dugway Road, new house driveway. We did a site visit
Did a couple site
a
visits.
couple times. We had a presentation about the driveway, the cutback.
Oh, they came last week.
Yes,
Yes. Shannon Bobisman from White Engineering. Fred was here at the last
Oh.
meeting, and you were discussing the stormwater permit. And some comments were made, which we have addressed and are incorporated into this plan. This is the proposed erosion and sediment control plan. What we did was increase the size of the level, of the rain gardens and increased the plantings, added some more erosion controls. At David Cameron's request, we provided the stormwater calculations. So silt fence and straw bales were added around each of the rain gardens. And check dams in the swales, which will have straw bales during construction. These rain garden areas will be used as the construction period erosion controls as well, and then converted to the rain gardens. So any of the exposed sediments on site will be captured in those areas and can be cleaned out during construction. So we increased the size of those to handle the 100-year, 24-hour storm event versus the 1 hour, 100-year storm event, which was what was proposed the last time. We've increased the number of trees from 57 to 70 and the number of shrubs from 58 to 106.
And is that in the buffer or farther up?
That's in the entire property. In the riverfront area,
Riverside.
we went from 9 trees, kept 9 trees, and went from 11 shrubs to 34 shrubs. The shrubs are on the other plan, but they're mainly on the slopes that will be cut in when the driveway is constructed. So those areas will become vegetated and have their own ability to filter that runoff, slow it down. That's our tree planting plan, are these larger circles, and then the smaller ones on these slopes here are the shrubs. Riverfront area boundary is right here.
The little stream that runs up the existing driveway, not the proposed driveway. Does,
The little,
isn't there a little,
no, this is just riverfront area from Mohawk Brook across the street.
wasn't there a little,
Not that I recall.
Are you thinking of Rattlesnake?
no? Thugway.
I don't remember that.
Oh, we'll continue on. That might be me.
House up the street has the street.
Yeah.
I think it's
Up the street.
up the street,
Yeah, it was a little farther past the driveway, but
right?
ended up pretty close to where the original. There seemed to be some little boxes, little cement boxes and,
Yeah, that's another property. That's,
is it?
yeah, further up the street.
Oh,
Where
sorry.
the three.
Continue on.
The three parts back.
Ignore me.
Okay, so those are the changes that we made. And the stormwater calculations were forwarded to you today.
Yep, we have them.
I didn't know if you had any more questions on that, David. But those were the changes we were asked to make that we did. If anybody has any questions, don't remember this or weren't here, I can
I appreciate the changes.
discuss anything else.
Thank you.
David, you were happy with the storm calculations?
Yeah, it looks like from the original submittal, they've about quadrupled the amount of stormwater storage in those structural BMPs along the driveway and up at the house site. So they went from, I don't know, 2,000 some odd cubic feet to well over 8,000 cubic feet. And I pushed them a little bit to better describe the complete area of disturbance, meaning, you know, beyond the driveway, beyond the house, what's actually going to be at least temporarily disturbed within the limits of work during construction. And I think, Shannon, you guys cited a number of 56,000 some odd square feet. So it's about 1.25 acres. The general rule of thumb for construction phase stormwater is that you want to provide 3,600 cubic feet of storage volume per acre of catchment. So they're proposing well over that with this latest design.
And is that, I know on the original plan, they had the 100-year, 1-hour rainfall, and now we have the 24-hour, right?
So much better.
Is that, should we be requesting that for all stormwater going forward? Or is that particular for this site?
This is,
My expertise is really the Massachusetts stormwater standards. So, you know, I think that's what they're trying to endeavor to show that if this were subject to the mass stormwater standards, they'd apply these storms, that they would comply with that. So I'm comfortable with this. This is a single family home. The majority of the work that's, you know, provides any vulnerability is the construction of the driveway. So provided that they, and I believe that the initial earthwork is going to be the construction of the driveway. So as long as they build those structural BMPs incrementally, while they're advancing the construction of the driveway, they're providing more than adequate storage for those storms.
Great, thank you.
Is this project going to start soon?
Well, if you grant us the stormwater permit, we still have the issue of the notice of intent. And so if we get the paperwork for the stormwater permit, we would love to get started and start clearing trees. So as soon as we have that order of conditions, we can get the road built and get the well drilled so they can move forward. There's 90 feet in the outer riparian zone that we would have to cross, but shouldn't have to take down any trees to get in here to start clearing before we have that order of conditions.
We have a spiffy new stormwater permit form. Are you excited?
Yes, but we would love to get the notice of intent advertised and on the agenda.
Okay. Shoot me a email to remind me.
Okay.
Didn't we already do that?
All right. Anything else? Any questions?
I appreciate it's bigger.
Yeah, a site like this, we're able to accommodate that, both construction phase and long-term.
I think we've done well on all the little dotting the i's and crossing the t's on this one, because it's a little tricky. All right, make a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the stormwater permit for 0 Dugway Road.
I'll second that.
Any discussion further? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. While I'm here, Sally, I also submitted the extension request for HOG 24 Lake Drive in September. Boardwalk.
What was the name?
Oh, they haven't sold the property yet.
Hog?
Please spell it.
G.
H-O-A-G?
H-O-G-G.
I don't know. I thought we did that. I'll look it up.
I will send that to you again then.
Okay.
Gonna be okay. Give us a minute.
Connect. Doesn't wanna- I was where we did that.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Shannon.
Is anybody here from Namkeg or about?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
Brian and
Okay. Pathway construction. Where does this pathway start and where does it end? Are you there?
yeah, it's already
Oh,
been there for a year.
what are we looking for here then?
We need the stormwater calculations. It's over 10,000 square feet. And we just, at this point, are formalizing the activity. We have had the paperwork for a long time, but we haven't had a presentation on it.
Okay. Tell us what you've done and how you've done it.
Sure. So good evening to the commission. My name is Elizabeth Curie-Soul. I'm a landscape architect and project manager with the trustees. And if I can share my screen with you all, I don't know if you have the disturbance plan in front of you.
We do not.
Okay. Is it okay if I share my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Just so we're all looking at the same thing. Okay. So this is our project scope. The existing conditions were at the base of the blue steps. There was basically a pebble path that died into a lawn path that reached this tennis court lawn area. There had been existing stairs that were made of rail ties and crushed stone that led up to the base of this existing path here. So the intention of the project was to have a more accessible, more comfortable experience for visitors who were traveling from the parking area to the woodland trail, which is up here. So we installed a stone dust path at a consistent 6.5% slope and installed a new set of concrete stairs here. And then we resurfaced an existing path here with that same stone dust. As for stormwater management, we installed a French drain and a crushed stone strip on the uphill side of the path, leading the entire extent of the resurfaced path. And then we also have channels that cross in a couple of spaces and outlet on the lower hill side of the path. At the same time, our horticulture team was working on some invasive management, including the back of Rond Point, which is pretty steep right here. There was some tree removal, some invasive management work. When the pathway was completed, our horticulture team planted about 1,000 square feet of hay-scented fern plugs. Those have actually done very well. I think we had a minor additional planting in the spring, but those took very well in the fall. And then our horticulture team also had some invasive management work that they were doing on the back end of the tennis court here. And since then, we seeded immediately afterwards with annual rye. And then this spring, the horticulture team overseeded and did a perennial plug planting for a pollinator meadow. And then, of course, all of the areas that were impacted by construction were then seeded with just grass. So I'm happy to answer any questions about this work or about how the project is operating if you're interested.
So do you have numbers for the stormwater calculations?
Yes. So we, at the time when we submitted a stormwater, the calculations from our engineering group. So all of those calculations should have been received by you all at that time.
Where did we? Never saw them. We have. Okay. And it was submitted before you did the work or after you did the work?
After.
So we started the construction work, not aware of the bylaw about the 10,000 square foot trigger. So we were actually just commencing construction when Sally came and straightened us out. And about 5 days later, we were able to submit a full package.
Thank you.
So the project is complete right now, except for
Yes.
maybe in the spring, some reseeding and.
Correct, yes.
Any questions?
So this is really a rubber stamp on something that's already been done.
Yeah.
That it's been presented to us formally.
And so just going forward, to come to us if you need to do this.
Yes, that was a big learning for us. And thank you to the commission and to Sally for your patience with us.
Okay. Thank you.
And I have walked on it. It is lovely. Like
Okay.
it was well done and it looks beautiful.
I'm
Great.
glad to hear that.
Okay.
I have a motion made. Close the hearing.
Should be.
Make a motion to close the hearing on the stormwater permit for Namkeg, Prospect Hill.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.
You're good.
Brian, have you found out anything about the mosquito thing yet?
No, but I've reached out to Austin Riggs. I'm a little curious as to if they may have asked for this work, or because I know that the drainage there that comes through the field at Namkeg really kind of originates on that property. So
Who did you reach out to?
to their steward, to their grounds person.
Nestor?
I think that's right. Yes.
And what's the question? Because I can ask him.
Just if they have, as part of their drainage, if they have implemented anything with mosquito control or with the state to manage that drainage that comes off of their property. It was just a guess because I've not seen anyone on property doing this work again yet this year. So
I would be shocked if they did that. But I work there, I'm happy to ask them.
How
That
does
would be
it,
great.
how does it connect from Riggs to Nomkeg?
Yeah, I don't,
Don't they own that back part?
not where the mowing was taking place.
Yeah, that's the same stream.
Right, but Rick
I can-
mowing up.
I can explain that, Sally. Starts up at the Marion Fathers, Mark, you know that, and it goes to that retention and just curls around and comes down through Lanew's property, crosses Shamrock Street, becomes an intermittent stream, and comes across the road at Pine Street, right by the AT&T
Oh,
building,
the Verizon.
and then continues into the field.
But how does it get to Nomkeg?
Down
Well,
behind.
it
Sergeant
just-
Street.
It wraps around, that's
Right,
really
isn't
what.
Oh, okay, all right, I got it, yep.
Is it about,
This is separate from our mowing. This is the mosquito control.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it seems like that's sort of a stretch on their part if it, to,
As I said, this is a mystery to me. This was my stewardship manager and I have been talking about this. He suggested we reach out to Austin Riggs, thinking that maybe this was part of their, something that they have with the state. I was just not sure. So that was just me trying to find an answer without an.
okay.
Just a hunch, maybe start there, or maybe they know something. Because maybe similar work is done on their property.
Okay, good to know.
happening or not happening?
Okay,
Is
So,
mosquito
well,
control happening or not happening? I don't understand.
That's what we're not sure about.
they treat it or not?
We don't know. It had something to do with the mowing,
Really?
which it's a mystery.
so we'll keep it open, keep this open till we can figure out what's going on? Because I thought you had said originally it happened every year,
The mowing.
the mowing.
The mowing along that, we mow our field every year as part of our field management plan. We just one time we cut it in the very late summer. We did it a little earlier this year than we usually like to, just because we had a dry spell and we did it just thinking that, and it turns out rightfully so, that this was as dry as it was going to get. Again, that was a little earlier than we had intended. But I think the question was, that we had gotten too close to that stream or that it was too wet down there. And, we had just not really paid any attention to a buffer area around that drainage, because it's always been cut by somebody from the state every year who says that they are there from mosquito control.
It's a mystery.
Once a year, randomly, it just,
Happens.
sometimes we see them, times we show up and it's done.
Okay, well, hopefully we'll get to the bottom of this mystery at some point.
Yes, well, we will be vigilant about it, and I will keep inquiring where I can to see if I can get anywhere.
And if I find anything out, I'll let you know, but I don't think it's likely.
Please, I'm curious myself.
All right, an RDA for Mass Electric, 40 East Street. Anyone here? Mass Electric?
GZA is here,
GZA, but this isn't it.
not for this one.
Continued?
Ron, can I ask what that is? I live at 40 East Street. I saw my address on your agenda.
Had an application from,
I thought it was tree.
Are you
is it
kidding?
tree removal?
I'm sorry.
I thought it was tree removal.
Getting some new trees, maybe.
I don't have electricity when I go home. Although you guys didn't do the right thing.
this is this. distribution pole relocation project, East Street, Stockbridge, Mass.
Okay.
Probably changing poles.
Yeah, there's a pole in the middle of this one.
That's what this is.
Okay, thank you.
And it's GBA.
Hopefully it goes well. Up next, RDA for 15 Lake Drive. Here you are. Not quite.
So, Mark, I actually have Brian here too. This is Doug and Kelly, all the way from Florida.
Oh,
Wow.
Represent themselves at your meeting. We had a site visit on the 13th. This is the project. Here, I'll bring it over here so everybody can see a little better. So, this is an intermittent stream that goes through the property. That is the wetland. There's another BBW below the property here. This is the work that's proposed is a single family house. Fairly modest size house, 1,800 square feet approximately, with a workshop, but that's all. This is the wetland resource limits. This is the 100-foot buffer zone here. So most all the work is outside the buffer zone. We did revise the plan from the initial plan that was submitted to actually pull the septic system a little bit this way away. So it did get this wall outside the buffer zone. The only work that is proposed is the well, which is this location, which we have to be 100 feet away from the septic system, which needs to be going here because that's where the perk tests were. This is 100-foot buffer zone from another well for the septic system. And we can't fit the well in here because of setback reasons. So the well is approximately 80 feet from the intermittent stream. And we're showing erosion control to be wrapping the whole site, basically, even though it's not in the buffer zone. So, but erosion control, we call it SCB3, which is the hay bale and the silt fence, would wrap the whole site.
Straw bales, right?
Straw bales, correct. There you go. There's a tree here that Doug and Kelly wanted to save, so we're saving that, and that was one of the other reasons to push the septic system a little farther away. I think everybody was on the site. The access to the well, so the well access will be coming in here, so we've got about 20 feet to access to get into the well over the buffer zone area. So the access is either going to be through uplands over in this area, across the slope. An alternative would be to come straight down from Lake Drive. We'll talk to a contractor which one. This is actually less impact probably, even though we're going to have erosion controls down below. We are showing a well spoil pit to be constructed. They usually do that for the spoils that come out of the well. So they discharge it into the pit and then they'll take it out and restore that area. There is one 15-inch hickory right there that's probably going to be impacted by the well construction. Just happens to be on top of the site that we need to go.
do you need to do any construction to get to that well site? Do you have to put in?
Well site?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna have
the truck have to put down gravel or?
They'll probably have to put down, what we're proposing is put down a fabric, put down gravel, and then pull it all back out again. And then we'll have to put in a well line, so you have to have electric and well water. But that'll carry this access here. So we go across the valve. This is like 85 feet from the intermittent stream. So we'll be getting out of it and getting over to the house site fairly quickly. Looking for a -3.
Any questions?
No. I like that you're saving the tree.
It's a 28-inch sugar maple.
Hopefully it stays healthy. They're struggling too. Most of the trees The ash trees are going quick. The maples have hit or miss for a number of years now. I think it's starting to get too warm for them.
They also have said that the ash borer will hit a maple if they haven't got anything else to chew on.
The revised plans.
So I make a motion for negative number 3 on the RDA for 16 Lake Drive.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's it.
Thanks for coming up from Florida.
Back to Florida?
Yeah, tomorrow. Had to come get a little taste of the cold weather, so.
This is not cold.
Don't tell me that.
Frosty this
Going to be
morning.
warm this week. It's going to get to the high 60s Thursday.
72 in Florida, they're wearing sweaters.
That's right.
On your agenda, doing a board certificate of compliance.
For,
Mints, those 19
Oh, yeah.
Lakeview. You were looking for a letter, sort of a
Yes.
promissory letter.
yes,
That's a drafted one.
Okay.
She's approved it. She's in an airport right now,
okay,
but they've approved, and I say a promissory note, and she can sign, they'll sign that and send it in to you.
okay, great.
The only thing they want to do is change, they had Windy Hill come and look at the plants that we were proposing, which were oaks and red maples. And up above, they said it would compromise the red oak that they have there if they did larger trees there. So they're looking for a listing there. What do I have there? Hornbeam, dogwood, and serviceberry up near the road. And then they were still going to do like the red maples down by the,
And the birch.
and a birch down at the lakeside. So if you're inclined to issue that certificate of compliance, that would go with it.
Okay,
You go with that?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Have a safe trip.
Thank you.
We have Wheatley.
Come on up.
I know you start.
I was just here to answer some questions that Sally asked about the, we had
oh, my
voted on a.
confusion, I have, and I wrote David, I don't know, if I didn't see a reply. I have no idea how to do this. I did it, but it doesn't do what I think it needs to do. Because the request for for determination asks for the retaining wall and what was the other thing? Retaining wall and something else. I forget now.
The seating?
It was the patio.
Oh, the patio, the
below
retaining wall
house,
and the
so we
stone patio.
retracted that in place of the
Right.
original order of conditions. for-
But what I don't have is that change in the request. So if I issue a -3, I'm issuing it for something that you aren't doing.
Can you issue a -3 with the conditions that only the work in the original order of conditions be completed? I guess because
I think what I need from you is a
Alternative.
letter saying that you're changing what you're asking for. And I
Originally?
can reference, David?
We had the update.
Okay, go ahead.
So how about,
You have, maybe you have a
So-
better way.
So yeah, I did get your email, Sally, and I responded and asked if I could see the RDA. So without seeing the RDA, it's hard for me to give, definitive advice. But if I recollect from the last meeting, what the applicant wanted to do, correct me if I'm wrong. It was kind of a difficult one to follow, but I think I followed it, which is it was an order of conditions issued some years ago for some kind of work, and that work never happened. Is that correct?
Well, a lot of it happened, but it wasn't finished. And expired in the meantime.
Okay, so some of the work was done, but not all of the work, and the order expired.
Right.
Okay, so and then Sally, or the commission gave the applicant the advice to submit a request for a partial COC, correct?
Right.
Okay, has that been done?
Yes, it's here to be signed.
Okay, so I think procedurally, and you could get a second opinion from Mark Stinson if you want. But if you issue the COC and you clarify in that COC specifically what it is stating is in compliance, as well as what was never done, that closes out the old order. And then then the RDA that they've submitted now, which I have not seen, so I'm not sure what the question
Okay,
which is
so
asked is.
Okay, so that part we got as far as, so I have the certificate of compliance and I did exactly what you suggested.
Okay.
It's a partial certificate saying that the loaming and seeding wasn't done.
Okay.
But
So
when they
what-
submitted the request for determination, they requested to do a retaining wall and a stone patio, which we would not permit. So they decided that, okay, instead of that, they were just going to go ahead and loam and seed the lawn, and that was going to be the end of the project. So the request for a determination was for something that isn't being done. So
Well, the request was for the patio and to finish the driveway work that wasn't completed in time under the original
Right.
order conditions. So the RDA, I guess, we're amending it so that it covers just finishing the driveway work.
and
Because it's in the
loaming
buffer
and
zone.
seeding. Okay,
And the
so,
low man seating. And I submitted an updated plan that only shows that, which is identical to the original order of conditions.
okay, so, but I think what I need from you, and David, correct me if this is screwy, is a letter stating that rather than doing the patio and the retaining wall, that you are only proposing to do the loaming and seeding and finish the driveway that was in the original order of conditions. Does that work?
I think as long as whatever plan has been submitted with this current RDA reflects precisely what they're seeking to do and precisely what the commission is okay with. And they're seeking it under a very specific question, which is, will the work affect or, alter a resource area, and does it require notice of intent? You're seeking a negative determination, correct?
But we didn't get that in a new RDA, did we?
Not a new RDA, but a revised plan was submitted that shows just the
Under the
lawn
other RDA.
rather than the patio.
Okay, under an RDA.
Yeah,
Under the
this one
original RDA
had me
Yeah.
totally confused as to how to go about writing it.
But
The RDA included the patio, so without the
Right,
patio.
exactly.
the rest of the
But
work that worked
I really
fine.
felt like before we could issue the negative determination, I needed some clarification that the patio and the stone retaining wall was not part of
Right.
what we were permitting.
So why not just
Or not
put it in
permitting.
a new RDA? So it's clear and trackable and
Well, I think if we have the plan and we have a letter from Brian saying that this is what they're proposing, we can put it all together in the RDA and I can figure out how to issue it that way.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Does that work, David, do you think?
If I follow, I think it works. Yeah,
Okay.
I would request that if you want my official opinion on this, please send me copy me on any correspondence, the RDA plans.
Okay.
It sounds reasonable if I'm following correctly, but I'm always reluctant to give an official opinion on something that I haven't actually reviewed.
Okay,
thank you.
we'll figure it out.
So then the only other thing I had was signing this partial certificate of compliance, which you're doing.
We got that, yeah.
And then the 17 Mackinac Terrace, the RDA was approved.
Yes.
So I think that needs to be signed
Yep.
because there was no paperwork last week or last meeting.
Yeah, that's because some of us had COVID.
Yeah, that's what for me. So I did visit with the planning board also, so it's coming up.
Okay, cool.
For the project.
All right.
All right, we have 5 things to sign.
So otherwise, thank you.
Thank you.
Ron, can I ask a question? It's Kate.
Yes, Kate?
I didn't quite catch that last bit with regards to 17 Mackinac. Has the Conservation Commission reviewed that request?
I believe so, Kate.
It was approved at the last meeting.
And what conclusions did you come to on that request?
Do you have it there, Sally?
17 Mackin.
That was the deck, the raised deck.
Oh, the raised deck?
The deck.
Yeah, that, we didn't have any issues with that, Kate. Because it's up above and they aren't getting any closer to the
Like,
resource area.
the disturbance area was one post.
One post hole.
So you weren't concerned about the wall, the great wall along the lake edge or the erosion on the south side
Yes,
of the
but
property?
that's gonna be it's gonna be your call on that.
That doesn't fall within the Wetlands Protection Act?
It's not part of this application.
I don't remember a wall in that application.
It wasn't part of this application, Kate, so we couldn't really talk about it.
But it's existing conditions, no?
Yes. But it would have been an LPOD issue. Because there were, the plantings that were planted along the lake were not native plantings, and there is no 35-foot buffer or any kind of buffer.
Can you ask David about that? If he's still here?
But that's a planning board thing though, not us.
I'm interested to know if in his opinion, this would fall under the Wetlands Protection Act.
Well, I guess it depends on whether or not that wall was permitted. And I don't know. I don't know the history of this project.
Been there quite a while.
It's been there a while.
I don't know the history either. No, I just got involved.
And it wasn't, I mean, this is one of those where we didn't review it after it was done, so. We would have to go back and look at what was permitted and deal with that, but it also is not in keeping with the LPOD, and the dock was too long.
So has chapter 91, does that review been taken place yet for the dock?
I don't know. I mean, the dock, I'm assuming has been there for a while. We had no reason to go look at it. The dock permit is under the zoning bylaws and not us. We probably permitted the dock, and we would have told them at the time what they were required to do. At least we usually did. But it's a zoning bylaw, not a conservation bylaw. And the chapter 91 filing is while it's required, it's not something that we follow up on because it's a state requirement.
And I brought the concerns from last meeting to the owners, but again, it's not my purview. I was just brought on for the deck project.
So just from my.
They're aware, but.
For my clarification, the wall was existing? The wall's been there for a while? Because I only remembered the deck, I don't remember.
We'd have to look it up. What was the?
Yeah, it's been there. It's been there almost as, we moved in 2007 and that was in place.
Yeah. So who knows what's happened since 2007?
I think for something like that, it might be outside the statute of limitations too.
Probably.
It's been that long. Just guessing.
13, 17 years.
Yeah. What was the?
What's the name of the homeowners?
Epstein.
Epstein?
Ruth and David Epstein.
That hasn't been that all along.
But they weren't the ones who did the.
I believe they purchased
renovation and.
They weren't, okay.
No, because it.
Changed hands.
I know it changed hands because the other guy had a Westie and used to come visit our Westie. The owner, so.
I mean, they are new owners, but I'm just trying to understand how the Wetlands Protection Act works here, because there is erosion going on at the south side of the property, and I would have thought that was something that would fall to the Conservation Commission, but you're saying that's not the case?
We're not saying that's not the case. We're saying that's not what they asked us to permit. this time. Do you know the,
When you go to a site, when you're looking at a site, you're not, and again, I'm just trying to understand this. When you're looking at a site, you're not looking at that type of situation?
we do.
I didn't see.
I didn't notice any erosion. I did notice that
Okay,
the,
maybe it was covered
planting-
by the leaves, but I didn't notice any erosion.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
okay.
Kate, I didn't notice, I know, I didn't notice erosion either, but when I was there, the sections of the dock were stacked up in that general area. So I guess it's possible that if there was
yeah.
erosion, it was obscured from where the docks were stacked, but nothing jumped out at me.
It's over on the, where the wellhead is. You can sort of see that there's,
So if you're facing Stockbridge Bowl, it'll be on the left side of the property, correct?
correct.
That's the south?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Bill, do you remember the name of the previous
There
owner?
were kayaks.
Yeah.
Bob. Sorry.
Bob the Westie.
Bob, and he was like a retired dentist from the Boston area, but,
With a Westie.
and he had
Okay.
a Misty. Scooter.
Okay, who had a,
Okay, we can't really help you. We did not
we
see the
didn't see
erosion.
it.
Westie.
I gathered that. I was just, trying to understand it. Thank you.
If it were something that we had seen, we probably would have mentioned it. But that wasn't part of what we were requesting.
Yeah,
We were right in that area.
yeah, Scooter.
Did not see
And we
it.
always like a second pair of eyes too.
You got one. You got two. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Kate. What's 5 Wheatley Drive tree cutting?
Oh, we have a request.
That was me.
Thanks,
Thank
Brian.
you.
Getting too old for this.
Excuse me, Sally.
Yeah,
This is Anthony with GZA. I'm here for
yes. Hi, Anthony.
whenever is reasonable. Happy to present that 40 East Street.
Talk
or
about the
27 East
trees.
Street.
Let's talk about the trees now.
Let's talk about the
You've been
trees.
here a while. Go for it.
Back again.
Or still, as the case may be.
Oh yes, well actually I have 2 projects. If I could speak on those.
Oh, okay, so you have the DOT at the moving the post?
No, the East Street, Route 7, 7 poles.
Mass Electric, sorry, yeah.
Yes, that's the one on the agenda this evening at least. And that I can share my screen if that's helpful.
All right, do it. Share away.
How's that?
Not good.
Can't see anything.
I got a green square, a red square, and
Not yet.
not there.
Let's see.
Where are they putting the poles in?
By Marie's house.
There you go.
There, got it.
All right. So 27 East Street up here up top. The majority of the poles are currently located in this large wetland complex to the southeast. Proposed work involves 7 pole relocations, mostly to increase the height and to provide easier maintenance going forward. And a little tough to see here, but those in gray are proposed for replacement, relocation rather. And as you can see, these 3 here currently located within BVW and proposed to be moved outside of that BVW for easier maintenance. There are a few more to the south, moved from the black location to the gray location is proposed, those to the south and uplands. So work involves those relocations within 100-foot buffer zone of that BVW, and a total of about 24 trees to accommodate that new pole span width, but only about a half a dozen or fewer are proposed for removal within that BVW. I believe basically from pole 74 down to pole 72. And photos, this area here. Yep.
So it's a distance from the road, and the new route will be closer to the road?
That's right. So in this photo, you can see there will be proposed poles up in this area. Here's another example here of moving a pole that's off to the left up onto the roadway edge. All those poles will be within 10 feet of that roadway edge. Here's one of those trees here that will have to be removed just because of the span. The wires will be located directly above that. And if you recall from our prior discussions, branches growing up into that span creates a hazard for that distribution line.
How are you removing those trees in the resource areas?
That's by hand. No equipment will be needed within the resource area. So chainsaw pulling out by hand, and they'll be cut flush with the ground. This type of shrubby stuff as well, woody material, will also have to be removed by hand. And all the pole work will also be done from the road.
What about replacements?
Yep, same truck would do that. To replace those poles, they would probably require a detail on this tight curve here of Route 7, so they'd have ample space to pull off. Shouldn't have to impact this guardrail, but just pull right up to each location, such as this one, and reach over the guardrail, dig their 14-inch diameter hole from that back of that truck, and toss a new pole in.
I meant replacement trees.
Oh, replacement trees. Well, with such a small number of trees, we would look at a few options, but currently they don't have plans to replace those on site, since there's really limited space.
Can we add it on to the number of replacement trees you're doing in the planting? I mean, if you're gonna take down trees, I'd like them replaced somewhere. Are you doing 40 trees someplace else?
Right, yeah, that's for Clark Road up the street.
Can we add to make it 46 or however many you're taking down?
Which we need to finalize.
Which we need to finalize, but if,
yet.
I'd like those trees replaced somewhere.
Yeah, there'd be 6 within resource area to be removed.
Could you show us the trees that are coming down? That's on our land, that one.
That's on your land?
Those big pine trees are not coming down, right?
What, do you have a list of what?
That holds the bank. I mean, if you take down those trees, it's gonna be.
Yeah. Did you hear what she said?
There's a neighbor that's asking which trees that will come down.
Sure. Not sure, these pine trees here?
Yeah, I mean, that bank, that's a pretty steep bank for you guys.
Yeah, no, they won't have to remove those. Those are far enough to the southeast of the work where poles would be placed. There's no poles being replaced up in this area by this culvert. It's all down further. So this would be the first location, I believe, pole 75, where the first one would need to remove. So this one here, I believe, is a red maple, has to be removed, but those pine trees are staying. And then the majority of the others would be down here in this area to the south.
Are all these poles on one side of the road, or do they cross from one side to the other?
No, sir. No, all on the southeast side of Route 7.
Okay,
Let's go back up to.
on your side, Marie.
Yep. Yeah, the pine trees are located over here. You can see that cursor. First pole to be relocated, pole 75 is there. And with that new line now extending to the next pole 76, those would be would remain. Rest of that bottom photo, trees were located down in this area.
It's in the ACEC.
It's in the ACDC.
There's no lights proposed for these poles, is there?
Not that I'm aware of. I'm not sure what they have down there currently, but is that a safety concern?
There's no lights on the pole, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, are they gonna put any lights on the poles?
No.
Okay. Just asking if there was gonna be a supermarket. lit
Yeah, the preference is
there.
there is not lights.
All right, if you say no, that's fine with us.
So was that a yes, that you can tack that number 6 onto the other plantings?
I'm sure that won't be a problem. I can
Okay, thank you.
certainly run that by, and
Is that a house, southern end
Mm-hmm.
if we could just touch on that after
Yep.
after this project, that would be great.
So we're looking,
Need to give him something
Hmm?
final on this because it's been dragging out forever.
yeah.
Yeah,
we
we'll
need
do
to-
that.
we need to do that.
The tree cutting,
So we need to close this?
yes. Make a motion to close the hearing on 40 East Street.
Second,
With the condition that they replace the trees,
6 trees.
6 trees.
second.
Okay, on to the 40 trees. While you're right here. 46 trees.
You have to vote.
All in favor?
All in favor? Sorry.
Aye.
Aye. You're good.
Thank you.
We,
So, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
in back of the building, there's a ball field, which hasn't been used in a number of years. We're proposing the perimeter of that ball field receive these trees, the majority of the trees. We might have to do a little pruning so we can make some sort of order out of the planting, but it's basically the perimeter should be easy access. Should be actually easy, well, I don't know what's in the ground there, but it probably is easy digging too.
We talked about along the river too.
Yeah, the whole area, if you came to town, we could lay it out, but basically to the north,
Level Park.
yeah, behind the playground, where the tennis court is and like that,
And then along the river?
along the river over there.
That's all
So,
the same location, approximately.
yep,
Probably have to access the planting along the river from Park Street,
Right.
because there's that like stream thingy,
Is that the drainage crossing?
swale.
Aren't
They
they,
have to come in, there's a walkway, and they could come in through Park Street or the river.
right, it's where we sit. I could point, but that means nothing to you, so. Southeast, no, northeast, behind the town hall. And access
Southeast.
will be the southeast of the town hall.
Along the ball field, you'll see the ball field.
Yeah.
Sure.
If someone came out to look at the site, we could easily show them what's what, and they could, or we could stake, or they could stake.
Sure.
And we'll fit the trees in there.
Do you know if Patrick's gotten rid of talked to Hugh about getting rid of the chain link fence yet?
I think I talked to Michael. If we could.
Yeah, presently there's a fence there, but it does not need to be there. It was a ball field.
That's along the river. The chain link fence is along the river.
Yeah. Doesn't need to be there.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming that it was put there so that little kids didn't go jumping in the river.
Or chasing a home run over the bank.
So once you look at it, and even once you plant it, can you give us the planting plan so that we can just track it and make sure everything survives and see what's going in there?
Yeah, so
your arborist probably, or whoever's gonna plant, would need to contact us, and then we'll visit the site and lay it out for whoever.
okay, yeah, last time we spoke, it sounds like someone in town was potentially coming up with that plan. We're happy to bring one to you guys. And
Yeah, I think they make the plan, not us. We can show you the site, but it's up to you
Yeah.
to give us the plan.
okay.
And if you ever come to us again, ask to be first on the agenda, because you always wait a long time.
It's
I
done
had some
when it's
some
received,
audio.
unless somebody asks specifically, like sometimes,
He's always waiting.
sometimes people will say, well, I have a meeting in another place and I need to go at the end. But usually it's just in order of
Unless he's salary.
when they came.
Okay, anything else?
Well, I was just hoping, all that sounds fantastic. Appreciate, that brainstorming.
I think we finally have it together. We'll issue the paper.
Great. That's the only next question I have. Yeah, it was just to the issue of the order conditions itself. And if the plan can come after that, we'd really appreciate getting going on construction and then look at towards the spring, just given the time of year.
Yeah, we'll specify that there will be 46 trees planted in the area behind the town hall, and that'll suffice, I think.
Okay. Great. Well, thanks again.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Can I just ask one quick question?
Sure.
Our alternates? I haven't seen our alternates.
Well, Kathy is in
Israel.
Who is she?
no, she's in, where is she?
She's not here.
Argentina?
No, she's in the, oh God. Everest, where's Mount Everest? She's in Tibet.
Oh, my God.
That area.
Oh, okay.
I just had got pictures from her from,
Been there before.
she has, yeah. I don't think she's in Tibet, but I think she's in that area.
What's Caleb there?
No, I don't know.
Papers.
I think she's with Mark. I don't know, but anyway, she's there for a while yet.
Not with oxygen tanks going up and up.
And Karen was in Israel
Okay.
and just managed to get out.
All right, I saw that, yeah.
So,
Ron, when you have a chance, I have a quick question about trees.
Can we pass this?
Pass the papers.
yes.
Hang on just a second, Kate.
And it can wait if you want, if you're all tired and you want.
The order of conditions
Give me 1
for
minute.
Rattlesnake Mountain.
Did we do
Is-
Drive?
No, we've got that still. We still have a couple of tree things.
Can't find it. Can't find it. Better ask away, Kate. I could be here a while.
Let me find
You
it.
want me to ask now or?
Go for it. Yes, please.
So I noticed, Lisa, you were asking for replacement trees. And I was looking at dead ash trees with the arborist for National Grid for Laurel Hill property. And so I'm curious, is that standard? Can I ask them to, if they're taking out dead ash trees because they feel they're a threat to their power lines, can I ask for replacement trees?
We always do.
We have a tree form now, Kate.
We always ask for replacement trees. I don't know how the planning board operates, but we always, and are you talking about National Grid?
This has nothing to do with planning board. This has to do with Laurel Hill property.
And where is it?
Well, all over town,
Yeah,
wherever
but I
they-
mean, is it near a resource area?
Is that the way it was with dead trees?
Now
I don't know. I'd have to look at the online map.
Because we have a new tree removal form. That we have in this, you can see it outside the building inspector. And it's for us to try and keep trees from being removed where they're gonna cause some sort of impact.
Yeah, I just wonder if that would apply on, the reason they're contacting me is because it's private land. And if it's not a resource area, I wonder if,
But, you can always ask.
I will, yeah,
They can say no, but you can always ask.
yeah.
Hey, in a lot of places, we were doing 2 for 1, because if you take down a huge tree and you put in a little small tree, the impact is definitely not the same. So if there is space, we're trying to compensate for the loss of the big trees.
What
Maybe-
what size do you ask for?
Well, it depends on the location. Some areas are harder to get to than others, and some just can't handle a bigger tree. We're not talking something in a little flower pot, but we're a root ball, a burlap type thing. Usually they're 3-4 inch caliber at the least.
We're asking
You don't
for-
want to put in something too big because they don't do as well.
Yeah.
They don't do
Smaller-
well, right?
Yeah.
And we've been asking for bare roots too, so we don't get jumping worms.
Right, yeah, I was worried about that, but then, if it's, you wonder if, the roadsides are, the town goes around with that road hog, so if it's, depending on where it is, then if it's a bare root, it's going to be gone.
Jumping worms down in Gould Meadows,
Are there jumping worms in Gould Meadows?
in the woods.
They're everywhere.
And nothing's been planted down there that I know
How's the burning project going?
of. We'll touch on that.
So, there's one single page, which I didn't get to doing, it's the RDA, so it's not a condition it or anything, just signatures. All right, so the determination of applicability we have here for the Rodriguez and Resnick. This is what we were talking about tonight, about how in the world I go ahead and do this. So if we can go ahead and sign it, I'll wait to get the letter from Brian and I'll include it in the. Okay. I'll include it in the. And we have 2 of our new tree removal forms. Neither one of which is the new one. I'm not really sure where they're getting these things, but anyway. So we have one for, it says Schulman, and then it doesn't have an address or anything else. But then it says 5 Wheatley Drive. So they're talking about construction of a septic field replacement.
Yeah, I thought so. What did they say?
5 Wheatley.
Well, where's the one that Patrick came and said they were like clear cutting? It was all the way back in.
That was 11.
Sorry, I'm not losing track.
11. Did we do a septic tank replacement? A septic system replacement at 5 Wheatley
I
Drive?
think so. It was down the bank,
Right.
lines and stuff along the driveway, and they
And
had
they
to
had
take down
marked what they were
a couple of
cutting.
trees, a
Yeah.
pine and stuff.
Yep, they had marked what they were cutting if
Yeah.
it's found.
It would have been. At least I think it
Okay.
was all the
Yeah,
right
no,
place.
I was, if it was 5, I remember.
All right, so this is Bob Fournier, so that was SK. So the trees to propose for removal, 18-inch cherry, 4-inch hemlock, 2.
So maybe there's more trees that they're taking down.
Yeah. Are any of the trees dead? No. But these are trees that they are removing because of the construction of the septic system which we approved,
Yes.
But these are more trees that are coming down soon, right?
I guess.
So should we go look? This is where they had clear cut a long time ago, right?
No. This is a different place. 11 Wheatley was the clear cut.
Oh, then I'm thinking of different properties.
Sorry. So we can do we have a part of our paper is to do a site inspection, so we can go take a look at 5 Wheatley. And then we have the one for 6 Castle Hill Road, which Ron and Bill and I looked at. And I spoke to Mr. Hudak, who tells me that this is selective house lot clearing for safety, aesthetics, and other, which is the selective house lot clearing. He has told us that that mound is a gravel mound and not ledge or
It's
anything.
in the right area.
Yeah. And then there's a driveway that goes behind that. Did you know that? We knew that, because Bill had looked at it.
Because we looked at a house all the way at the
Yeah.
end of that driveway.
Oh, does it
But
say
that
how big
drawing
the lot
hasn't-
is? I mean, not that it matters to us, but maybe it should matter to us.
He says there are 3 dead trees, 1 damaged ash, 3 pine trees, 1 maple, and other sort of miscellaneous 1 to 5 inch in diameter.
There are emails with pictures of all this in the email.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you see it?
Yeah, so he's got pictures of the whole thing. It's not jurisdictional. Nothing's gonna fall on anything.
Okay.
If he builds a house, I'm sure he's gonna do some sort of plantings, I should expect.
So he wants to have an artist studio and a house.
It's not jurisdictional. So we're just gonna look at 5 Wheatley
Yeah.
as a site visit? We're just gonna see it?
Just do a drive-by.
Okay. And then how do we get back to this person?
We will have a form that will follow up on this, which we will mail to them, which we do not yet have, but we will.
Okay.
Because we have a brandy new form for, did we sign that? Yeah, we did. We have a brandy new form for stormwater now to issue. Because when we got stormwater from planning board, they got the application to do the stormwater, whatever, but there was nothing to issue. There are no forms that I could find to issue. So now we have one.
Okay, good.
Hey Sally, when is the next meeting?
The second Tuesday of the month in November, which
Monday, Wednesday
is
14th.
November.
14th.
14th, okay. And then, so you'll put me down for the LPOD, and can you also put me down for another thing I'd like to talk about is berms?
okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Night, Kate.
Night, thanks very much.
Okay.
Agricultural Forestry Commission, we have a date. It says
It already
postponed.
happened. The meeting was postponed. We meet the first Monday of the month, so whatever the first Monday of
November is
November.
the 4th.
It's like 6:30.
Is that, so it's Monday, all right, because it's
Yep.
the 5th election day?
Monday.
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, it's on our, it has to be.
Tomcat got here.
That was it. They brought in their things.
The tree planting,
National Grid, yay.
zoning revisions.
Then you can reach it.
He talked about that. And we aren't anywhere yet.
All right, so before we adjourn,
So it's now November 4th. There was another issue that somebody asked me about, which we are required to address, which is stewardship committee. Which
Oh, that's, so
do
they
have
haven't been meeting?
fallen
to the wayside.
Yeah. Who chairs it?
Roxanne. We haven't had a meeting in months.
And it was slim before that, wasn't it?
No, we did meet regularly for a long time. And then all of a sudden, sort of midsummer, started
asking for, but they
So what's the question?
So the question is if we're required to have it, and we aren't. So everybody knows. I don't know what, somebody thought maybe she's in, wasn't good or something.
That's a good way to say it.
All right. I had a meeting yesterday for most of the afternoon with Margaret Carnavale, David Solino, and Kathy. She's from the, she was on the committee for, I'm kidding, slop up here.
Campusa?
Campusa Bog, years back, yeah.
Kathy?
Karen?
Karen?
Arthur knew her. Well, anyways,
Laura?
all right, I just
She's
didn't get her
now-
last
she's
name.
current.
Okay.
So the meeting was with the Department of Conservation and Recreation, Fire Control District Number 12. That was Margaret Carnavale. She's actually from Pittsfield. David Solino drove out from Boston, I think. I don't know. Not sure. The conversation was about burning the fields. We're gonna have to do an RDA for that probably. Just so all the paperwork gets together. They were enthusiastic about it. They thought, because there's 94 acres there, not all of it is fields, but they even thought that burning some of the woodland to get rid of not buckthorn, not bittersweet.
Kiwi?
No, the little spiny little things, they were red berry.
Barberry? Yeah, barberry.
They'll begin with a
There's lots of it.
And the ticks.
Yeah, well, that's how we're gonna sell it. So I had the fire chief there, Hugh Page, the highway department, these three people, myself and Arthur, and we spent the whole afternoon discussing how this could be done. And there's enough fire breaks around the perimeter. All we need is a dry spell and two frosts. They said, if we get two frosts, it'll kill it and dry it out enough. And if we get the paperwork and stuff in, and she's gonna help us with the paperwork. TCR she was.
This is Margaret, Stacy.
No, she's a fire control, Department, TCR. Department Conservation and Recreation.
Arthur, Margaret,
Fireman,
Steve
highway.
and
Hugh.
Hugh.
And whoever the
Scott
other
Muir
person
there
was.
too.
Who was?
Scott Muir. Well, anyways, we walked the perimeter of the property. We walked through the fields. Actually, they suggested we don't mow anymore because it'd be easier to get it to burn while it's up and fluffy. So there's a section out in the middle that hasn't been mowed yet, and we won't mow it this year. If it doesn't come to be burned off, we can get it in the spring. Conditions have to be favorable, so it's probably, no big gust of wind in the valley, and smoke's gonna be an issue, but we can control that sort of by the size of the burns. They actually, let's say this is the road here. They burn this that way and then work down the hill and burn that way again. So you're burning little.
Okay, interesting.
You don't start way down this end and let it rip.
It's all depending on the wind, though. The wind has to be going towards the road for that to work.
Yeah, that would be helpful if there was a breeze. And they were enthused about the whole thing. I've got maps here that we gave them maps with acreage on it. And
Has it been burned before?
not to our knowledge.
Is there a fee for this?
Nope.
They want to burn my field.
I asked about that.
Okay, I said, no, it's in conservation.
If it's big enough, they'll discuss it. But this woman,
About 15
these, yeah, it has to be bigger. Because the little areas they won't do, because then everybody in the neighborhood wants their backyard burned.
Because it's required to be kept open by the conservation restriction.
So those
So
are
we
the
have to mow
areas.
it, and it gets all that junk growing up in it.
Away with goldenrod, because they said it's in the ground, and you won't burn the roots and stuff.
Great.
So we're trying to get the application together to do it this year. Whether or not it happens, I don't know, but once we get everything in place, I think we're good for a couple of years.
But if the conditions are right, 2 weeks from now, can we do it, or do we have to go through committee and such?
We got to do the paperwork, and hopefully we can do it up through, depending on the weather. If we get snow, we can't do it, but November's fine.
But we're looking around Thanksgiving is the ideal time, right? We're thinking?
Yeah, she said 4 or 5 weeks. If we got everything together, we could get it done.
Unrelated to the open burning timetable, no problem.
Tell us when, can we watch?
You'll get the alert on your phone from the fire department. That'll probably be in the Eagle.
Okay.
We've got to notify the people from Lennox, and the people with dogs are not going to be happy.
So it's
We
done.
got a little white.
So the spring is a beautiful field.
Yeah, when it's done, we'll be
Yeah.
happy.
But they were enthusiastic. They thought it'd be a big improvement about
I've seen more ticks on my dog in the last 2 weeks than I've ever seen the whole summer.
I was standing there talking with the people in the parking lot.
Yeah.
First, I had a woolly bear caterpillar crawl halfway up my leg. And then she said, Margaret said, you got a tick on your back. And then she pulled it off. And it was crawling around. I don't know. I got it somewhere from my truck to the parking lot. I have no idea how. But that should help a lot of things. There's so many fire breaks down there that they have no problems because we mowed the perimeter, so it's short and green and 5 feet wide.
Great.
And there's roads on 2 sides, wetlands on another side.
This is the stream.
I'd like to see it.
It's
when it
doable.
happens. Yeah, it's great.
It's just got to get everything together. And they
do it.
no, well, yes, they start it. We have to have a fire truck with water type, and some help and that type of stuff.
I grew up in Illinois, but it's happened all the time. All the time.
Interesting to see how that works.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's in the works again.
It's amazing how green it comes back up.
Hopefully it happens this year. If not, maybe in the spring. Spring, everything's really dry and
Also, it's all farmland.
the south wind. And actually, a south wind would be good because it would come up off the bowl. So as things progress.
Good south wind today.
Yeah.
Tons of land.
Oh, and we have this original sign
Yeah,
This has been modified a little. There's a big metal plaque that was stored in the storeroom down in the corner where all the filing cabinets are. Found that, so that's gonna be in a frame and go up on the kiosk.
Nice.
Oh, there was something else now.
cool.
Oh, Mary Flynn
The Mary Flynn.
marker.
song? Yeah.
There was some sort of marker on the tree down there, and we don't know where it went.
Night, Dave.
I'm
Good night,
signing
Dave.
off. Thanks. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you.
And it's been long lost, so we got the original wordage of the plaque, and we're gonna do a marker, a stone, and put that down there so that doesn't
Nice.
disappear.
Yeah, that's great.
I started that project Memorial Day weekend, and it won't be till next Memorial Day that the guy's even gonna
That
get
will be
to it,
very nice. That's great.
so.
Does it need funding?
We've got money left over from the purchase of gold medals.
Okay.
It's been sitting in an account since 1981.
Maybe it has interest.
Ooh. Rule of 72. So, a few times.
So that's there, we can use it. He's been trying to mow the fields with that little green tractor. First he got a flat tire. No, first he got stuck. We got that out. Then he got a flat tire, and now he's got a hole in the radiator.
Yeah, that's a country western song, that tractor, huh?
Yeah.
We need a
So-
grandma. We need a grandma.
Yeah.
So.
Sound like a drummer.
Now the whole discussion is. Well, and because we don't have to mow it every year, we can
Get it
burn
done.
it every other year or so. He's got till next year to work out some sort of tractor that's big enough, got enough horsepower, and won't die in the middle of the field again. I found a free mower deck that's 8 foot wide. But free isn't always free because we don't have a tractor that'll handle it. So first I said, well, can we rent one and we'll try it this year before we say we'll take it. But Hugh can't find one that's suitable to rent or lease for, we only need it for like 2 days. Just try it, you know?
I've seen some, just over in New York State, where they have three, they have one mower behind, and then two more that fold up. And then, so they're running it with three, that must cut 20 feet.
This is a woods mower, brush hog type thing. It's
Yeah.
got 3 sets of
Three.
blades. And it's just at the next property, been sitting in the woods for a while that I know of, so. It was, finally, somebody's talked to me about it, so I think we can try it anyways. And if he said if it works, well, maybe it comes back, maybe it doesn't. But we need like 50 or 60 horsepower at the PTO on the back of the tractor. And the only one in town is the blue one with the arm thing on it. And Hugh says, I can't really take that, it's bolted onto the tractor. So it'd be a real pain to take that off and try it, so.
Does Gary have one?
Well, Gary's tractor probably does. But, you know, he was getting paid to mow it too, and it's kind of,
I was thinking that if you were going to rent it, maybe you would be willing to rent it for a couple days.
But if they're gonna burn,
yeah, well, there's areas that have been skipped.
yeah,
Okay, there's little patches the size of this room
yeah, but they.
that for
won't get
some
to-
reason they went around, don't ask, it's not wet there, they just went around it, so I said, talk to Hugh and to touch up the areas and
Yeah,
do that, and we'll just leave the big area and we'll try it and start it, and and in the spring, if it's conducive to burn, they might try to burn the areas that have been mowed. The problem is that it's down and flat, and the snow is gonna pack it down even more, so it might not burn as well. But, so we get it next fall instead of this fall or this winter. It's so weather dependent that, these guys, what's his name, David Solano, does a lot of work out on Martha's Vineyard, in those places. They said they've been doing it for a number of years. First it was no, don't do it.
Oh, they do a lot of.
And then they
burning,
did it, and
Yeah, they
then
do
people
a lot of
started to say,
burning.
oh geez, come back again next
Right.
year, and do it again.
Yeah.
They do it sporadic, different areas on the Cape and
Mm-hmm.
on the islands. So it's in the works, a lot of things in the works, but whether and what,
Well, that used to
wheels
be
of government
standard,
turn slow.
Steward out there.
that used to be standard procedure to
Yeah.
burn the fields.
Oh, yeah.
But I called this Margaret Carnavale
Excuse me,
this
Director.
morning, she called me back before noontime. I thought, oh, this is government work.
Nice.
And she's called me 3 more times to set this whole thing up, so.
That's great. That's great.
And I think they like the day off to drive all the way out to the Berkshires, is what it was.
Who doesn't?
Does erosion become any kind of a factor in this thing?
No. They said
Those are roots.
Yeah, the roots are all gonna be there. Right now, there's cold weather grasses, they're telling me, or the green, what you see green out there.
Yep.
So if you burn that off when it dries up, says that it'll increase the warm weather grasses, which you see in the spring start to come up. So it'll all go back eventually to, sort of warm, but she said that they said the cold weather grasses actually are kicked back a little. It's kind of like crabgrass, I guess. I don't know that, it doesn't start to germinate or sprout, but the seedbed is there and everything will come right back.
It must be, it'll take out the thatch too.
That's exactly what we're after, because all we've done is brush hog that property for so many years that you gotta dig down 6 inches to find topsoil.
Yeah. So
But then,
and all those nutrients.
And we
go back
talked
down.
about the burns at the swamps down here, Agawam, and that's still in the works, I guess. But with COVID, everything kind of fell by the wayside,
Right.
but it's not off the table.
Okay, yeah, good.
that land is for sale, isn't it? I think.
Agawam?
Swans
Oh,
land.
it's,
no, that's-
Muncie's.
I don't know, I just saw it in the paper.
The
That's,
Muncie's purchased it.
What?
The Muncie tribe purchased it.
I don't think it's complete yet, but it's
It's in
close.
the,
It's
it
close,
will go through
yeah.
with a MVP grant. Okay,
Is that your pen?
make a motion?
To adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you.